Excuse me, Captain. Where did you say this island was that we're going to?
The darkest reaches of Davy Jones' locker, if you ask me.
Okay.
Hello, welcome to Ycft. I'm wearing the exact same t-shirt as in our Evil Dead video because we filmed this. We filmed that about 10 minutes ago.
I'm fooling no one.
You put in so much effort to change your outfits. We changed the set
tried.
dress and I just stay in the same
Yeah,
outfit
just remain.
for a month's worth of videos. We recently passed 1,000 subscribers. Or to be fair, when we filmed it, we were on like 996 of what, like we've got the camera, we've got the gear out. We might as well.
We were tempting fate a little bit.
Tempting fate. We assumed we might be able to get 4 subscribers in the next week or so. But man, was my prediction of trying to get the 500 by the end of year 2, so October, November.
Yeah.
Off. It feels like 5 minutes ago we were doing our last update video.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we put a little poll out
We
for
did.
What people would want us to talk about for the 1,000 subs special.
Yeah.
I know we very recently did Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School.
Yeah.
But we had the choice of like redoing Zombie Island, do the sequel, Return to Zombie Island, which is what won out.
Yeah.
So Scooby-Doo, Return to Zombie Island from 2019. We'd also put the option out there for any suggestions on, and also to redo our very first video, Malignant, which at some point I might want to do anyway. I suppose before we get into that film, gotta just say thank you.
Yeah.
It's insane.
We
It's
are,
nuts.
We are legitimately kind of blown back on our asses by how much support we've had recently.
I know.
It's lovely, and we've noticed that there's a lot more engagement. You know, like we ask questions at the end of the videos, and we get responses, which is really, really lovely. And we always try our best to comment and reply
as
often as we can. So we're just
I've enjoyed
we're blown away.
I've enjoyed having discussions with people in the comments,
fun,
which is always really nice.
It's fun, yeah.
So yeah,
We're very, very
thank you.
proud.
This will probably be our last update video.
This is our last video.
This is probably our last update video until the 2-year anniversary.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
we weren't expecting to have to do the 500 sub one.
No.
The sub goal, and I wasn't expecting to do this one, but
No.
yeah, blown away, baffled, questioning everything, humbled,
but very happy at the same time.
Yeah.
Very happy.
So, yeah, like I said, put a little poll up for it. We
Stick
will
with us, guys.
let you guys pick what we do and pick
This went
Scooby-Doo
out.
Zombie Island.
To be fair, I also voted for this.
You did this to yourself.
I did.
We put this off for so long. I have tried to get you to watch this film.
I know. Oh God. I bigged it up in my head that it was going to be such a crippling disappointment, and I was like, why would we be masochistic and want to do that
To
to
be fair, I
ourselves?
think you enjoyed it more than I did.
I think I actually did, and that's the crux of it. Alright, I didn't love it.
Oh, on IMDb trivia,
Ford.
it actually in the trivia section, it actually is like one of the most hated Scooby-Doo movies in its trivia.
I separated the cons from the pros, and needless to say, there is a lot more cons.
I think
for sure.
For everything I liked, there were 2 or 3 things I didn't like. And I want to try and talk about things I did like before I go all in on...
Let's just remind everyone, Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island, both our favourites of the animation.
From 1998.
From 1998.
Classic.
For many people, like the pinnacle of Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island is the Scooby-Doo film.
Yeah.
For a lot of people,
it brought
the live action.
It brought Scooby-Doo back, and that's where I was...
It's a legit horror movie, guys.
6 years old when this came out?
Yeah.
Maybe?
98.
Yeah,
I'd have been 4.
I was 5. I was actually 5 years old when Zombie Island came out, and I have vivid memories watching it.
Yeah.
Nothing has ever quite stood up to that since, and I think for a lot of people that's the same. And I think a lot of people were quite excited to see that they were doing a sequel to it. But this is more of a sequel to The Curse of the 13th Ghost.
Yeah, that
which we found out because... So the kind of premise of this movie, I'm just seeing... like Mutilator, I've got it on.
Yeah, we have.
Here, to remind myself.
Yeah.
I know it's a particular scene you don't like, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
This feels more like a sequel to 13th Ghost than it is to Zombie Island. Mainly because it actually does follow on, and we were a bit confused. So we had to look up there, like, Mystery Inc. has been disbanded.
Yeah.
Right, because of whatever happens in the previous one. Fred has had to sell the mystery machine. The local sheriff doesn't want them solving mysteries.
No.
And Shaggy wins a vacation on a great celebrity cameo that I love.
Yeah.
He watches, like, Cassandra Peterson's Elvira's, like, you know the type of shows she used to do where she'd
like
do
the horror host.
the horror, the hostess with the mostest.
Yeah,
I think that's what she used to say, the hostess with the mostest.
Yeah.
Which I adored that. I always love it when she pops up in things.
Yeah.
And Shaggy wins a vacation. And this part of the premise I actually really do like, because he makes the gang promise that they're not going to solve any mysteries. They just want to have a break. And they agree because they realise that they've put Scooby and Shaggy through a lot.
Yeah, they think
They're
they owe them
constantly
this.
terrified. They think they owe them
Yes.
a break. I did see, because the sheriff tells me, go on a vacation. But the IMDb actually says, like, a common theme with Scooby-Doo is they're constantly just doing relaxing things and these things happen.
do. Yeah, they're not really owed a holiday, to be fair. But
yeah.
I do like how Shaggy makes them solemnly swear on a menu.
On a menu,
like, that's their gospel.
That's a menu. They know.
Yeah.
Raise your right hands and swear.
That's a menu.
Oh, they know.
So they go on this holiday.
To an exotic island.
An exotic island that has been clearly dressed up to look more tropical.
Called Moonstar
Moonstar. Not Moonscar, Moonstar.
Suspicious.
We will probably spoil this film, to be fair.
We're going to spoil the shit out of it. I'm sorry,
And
but we are.
It turns out they have been lured back to Zombie Island.
Yes, poorly disguised as a exotic paradise.
Yeah. What else did I like? Let's get the basic premise. We're getting
that one other thing that I like.
Fred was the best. Fred was the highlight of this film. He
Oh.
is going through basically a breakup with the van because he's had to sell the van.
Fred shines.
This might be my favourite incarnation of Fred. Fred from like
That's praise.
Camp Scare onwards.
Funny Fred.
Funny Fred. I've massively enjoyed Frank Welker. Frank
we love
Welker also
Funny
voiced Scooby in this.
Yes, he did. He does.
Obviously, Grey Delisle was Daphne.
Daphne,
I actually really like this depiction of Daphne because she's the one who seems to vary the most.
Matthew.
Matthew Lillard is fantastic. We'll get to Velma later.
Yeah.
What else did I like? The animations were nice.
I like the
kinda
animation.
Like the digitally painted backgrounds and the way they stand up. The opening titles pay homage to Zombie Island 98 in an amazing way.
Yeah.
They actively flash back to the original film, but they've reanimated, like completely remade certain scenes from it, which looks weird in the modern style, but I really appreciate, because obviously the aspect ratio for the original one was just, it wouldn't work.
That takes time and effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really, really like that as an attention to detail there.
You did like the opening credits.
That's the thing, yeah. I really, because it almost looked like they'd keyframed over some of the zombie movements because it matched, and it basically goes through the Terror Time bit without the song.
It tells
certain
you the
key
story of Zombie Island, which actually I think a lot of more sequels should do. You know, rather than recap through exposition in the actual film itself, or just do general
it still has
flashbacks.
the exposition.
It does, but make the most of your opening credits. Like, they can be just as much an exciting part of the film as the actual story. And I did like how they basically tell us through illustrations and drawings the events of Zombie Island in the opening credits.
Yeah.
That was a nice little touch for me.
It's kind of revealed that they've been lured there because a director named Alan Smithy, which is a famous pseudonym used by directors who want to separate themselves from a project they're not happy with. Which I think was a really nice touch. He has put hidden cameras there to try and make a movie based on Velma's blog. Like, Velma having a blog makes a lot of sense with
Velma
unsolved
does have a
mysteries
blog.
on there. Which we pointed this out in our Reluctant Werewolf video, that we knew she directly references. It's more than that. Like, there's 2 instances where, like, her blog said, a reluctant werewolf, and a picture of Shaggy
as the werewolf.
as a werewolf. But also, Scooby and Shaggy, they point out, like, why do you like this show with Elvira, all these horror movies? And it's like, oh, well, they're just silly, cheesy movies. Because in Reluctant Werewolf, they're actively watching cheesy horror movies.
I never understood why you 2 chickens love watching these terrible movies.
Because these cheesy monsters are the only kind that Scoob and I aren't afraid of.
And that's a question that we raised in our Reluctant Werewolf video.
Is that now canon?
Yeah. Yeah, we asked, why would Shaggy and Scooby be watching horror films? Like, surely this is something they would never, touch with a barge pole if given the choice. But Return to Zombie Island kind of answers the question for us. They don't mind the cheesy ones because they're the only ones that they can stomach.
Yeah.
And it does appear that Reluctant Werewolf is canon.
Which
so
skews the
all
timeline.
of the others are canon as
timeline
well.
a bit. Well, we'll get into the timeline. So all the zombies are fake. They are staff members, but then more twists and turns. The cat people are back.
The cat
people
are
after the gold of Morgan Moonscar.
Yes. That's hidden somewhere on the island. And the island is also laden with cats as well,
Again,
like we get in the first
a lot of the
movie.
staff are dressed up to look like characters from the original. That's literally there right now.
We'll get to that in a bit. Yeah.
It's fair, they do some really interesting chase sequences through the house. Like
Yeah.
A nice play on the corridor scenes.
Yeah.
I'm really running out of things that I liked.
Should I talk about some things that I
Yeah.
liked? Okay, I agree. I did like the animation. I thought that was done very well. I love Fred's whole arc with the mystery machine. That was just an absolute delight.
I've seen rom-coms do breakups worse than Fred in the mystery machine.
He literally like fantasizes about the mystery machine. Like he thinks he sees it throughout the island, and like and Daphne starts getting jealous.
He has a whole dream sequence about it. But like I thought it was the beginning of the film, but he's just dreaming about it and going on adventures and taking down monsters with the mystery machine. And then he's like, "Oh, I sold it."
I sold it. I did like the recreation of the malt shop at the beginning as well. So that's when
I don't know if that appears in previous films that we've not seen.
But potentially, for me, that was a nice little treat. That was a proper throwback to the 60s original show. I loved the little cameo from Elvira. I thought that was great.
Definitely didn't make her as on display as she usually
on display, yes, as buxom as she usually.
No, she's very famous for being.
Yeah, and I did like the recreation of the plantation to an extent. I mean, we don't get the pepper farm like we do in the original movie, but the house itself where Simone and Lena lived, the house where they
it's much bigger. It feels bigger.
It feels bigger, but for all intents and purposes, like the architecture is the same, so it was kind of nice seeing that again.
Tell you what, a scene's on the minute. Scenes I always love in Scooby-Doo films, and I think it kind of started with Witch's Ghost, where when Scooby and Shaggy are eating ridiculous amounts of food, showing the horror and seeing people react to them and eat, like it literally shows them in silhouette shadows, like destroying food.
Yeah.
I always get a chuckle out of that.
Yeah. In terms of the movie plot, which you clocked almost instantaneously.
I clocked both twists.
Yeah.
It's a Scooby-Doo film. You're not expecting big twists.
I didn't mind it necessarily.
Could it have been better?
I think it could
attached
have been
to a different movie.
Yeah, potentially, but yeah, the director has hired lookalike actors to play Simone.
I mean, the fact that the director has Simone's pendant on and it's not drawn attention to until about half through the movie.
Look,
you can see that.
That's a con that I have here. And I also liked as well when there are chase sequences, which I did think were done pretty well. We get almost like 60s sounding music playing, which again is a throwback to the original show where the chase sequence would be played to a cheesy song and the entire song would play out.
I did like that.
We get a bit of a return to that.
Do you not think we should have had a moment that paid homage more to Terror Time?
I think it's time we get into the cons.
Yeah.
I think let's go for it.
All right. Throughout the first, to be honest, it takes a good 20 minutes for the film to properly start.
Okay.
Because you said that it felt like a short movie, and I was like, well, it's an hour and 20.
Yeah, it did feel short to me.
But it's like, this was the actual movie part of it, does start about 20 minutes in. The amount of jokes they make about seeing obvious things that are mystery or intriguing, we're like, oh, no, we're not. If we were solving mysteries, that would be a bit suspicious.
Are you guys suggesting that there's something mysterious going on here?
No.
Not at all.
Why, those names don't sound at all like the other names from the other island adventure that we're not talking about. If I cared about solving mysteries, I might be thinking about that other time we went to an island filled with zombies.
It wasn't funny the first time. It wasn't funny the second time, the third, fourth, 10th, 50. However many times they do the joke too much. And I was actively getting annoyed. Watch this movie annoyed me.
I think that ties into the biggest kind of flaw of all of them is Velma.
Yeah, the characterization of Velma is
off.
I can't remember.
It couldn't be more off.
I've seen the actress. I can't remember her name, but I know the actress.
Kate Micucci.
She's a great actress, but I think
she's no Velma.
The voice is a bit off, and
the voice
she's
is totally off.
The character is written to be so neurotic.
Yeah.
And it's just off. It's not Velma.
This is the thing, right? It's if you watch Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, and then you immediately watch Return to Zombie Island, there is too much of a disconnect between plot, between tone, between characterization. Like they are, and I do appreciate, you pointed out that Zombie Island is over 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like I understand that.
But if you're claiming to be a sequel to that film,
your characters alone, they have to connect, like they have to be similar. And Velma here, this is unlike any Velma I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know if she appears like this in other ones, but
there's literally a scene
she
where
just wasn't.
bashes her head against the wall because she's so frustrated she can't solve a mystery.
Well, when you hear something suspicious, I guess the best thing to do is ignore it.
Yeah.
My Velma would never do that.
There's also a scene where like her and Daphne almost like don't know what to talk about.
Oh, the small talk scene.
The small talk scene where it's like, oh,
Yeah,
if we're not solving mysteries, what do we talk about? You've been friends for a very long time.
You guys like each other. It's like, yes, you are two very different women, I guess, on the surface. But I mean, don't fob us off with we have nothing to talk about unless we're solving a mystery. Don't give us that. You two are friends. Like we know that.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate that at all.
I like that blog, but
The
problem is that she has the events of original Zombie Island as an unsolved mystery. I can't remember what she calls them. I don't think you could legally call it unsolved mystery.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
I got something capers or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Creepy capers or
Creepy capers.
Yeah,
Let's just go with
she
that.
classes the events of Zombie Island as unsolved, even though the events are solved. We know everything's
It was a genuine supernatural mystery.
Yeah, but she now later on does not believe that it was, and
because
that to me takes away from the revelations
it
of
does.
Zombie Island that the monsters were real.
It totally
if
does.
she just now believes that they weren't.
All the other characters don't really have a problem believing that, yes, we were actually on an island filled with zombies and the cat people were real. Like Velma, this happened, and this particular incarnation of Velma is so logical and so rational and so kind of science solution driven that she just cannot accept that the supernatural, like the paranormal was responsible for it. She just cannot accept it, and that it takes something away. Because original Velma in Zombie Island, again, she believes it. She's shocked, but
when
she
she's given
believes
proof, she believes it.
Yeah.
And so
She was
this
the
leads
zombie
to
of the
a
good
big
guys.
problem I have, which is the timeline.
Yeah.
All right, because I think this came out around the 50th anniversary of the Scooby-Verse, as they now call it.
Oh, it would have been.
Yeah.
Because 1969.
And I think from Camp Scare onwards, there's essentially like a new series, like a new timeline. And apparently in the Curse of the 13th Ghost, they established as being 18 or just about 18.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like reboot. Obviously, this is a kid's show, but it also leads to the question of who is this movie made for? Because people who loved and enjoyed Zombie Island will be in their late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
When they recreate scenes from Zombie Island, they change them. One in particular would be when Daphne is on a talk show. We know it's because she was a reporter.
Coast to Coast with Daphne Blake.
Yeah. So she was being interviewed because she was very successful. Like,
Yeah, she's a businesswoman.
They are adults in
They
Zombie
are
Island.
fucking adults.
They redo that scene and say, oh, that school project. It's like, what?
Yeah, about that summer when I was working at that TV station for my school project.
Like, yeah, we know.
Right.
They don't mention the fact that Scooby and Shaggy were working at Customs or that Velma owned a bookstore. They were adults. They've aged the characters down. But now, if... I know it's a kid's series, all right? But this bothers me.
It does,
If Reluctant Werewolf is now canon, that takes place in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, if you are trying... This is more of a... Like I said, it's more of a sequel to a film we haven't seen, like Curse of the 13th Ghost, than it is to Zombie Island.
Yeah.
You've got to respect that timeline. They are meant to be adults in Zombie Island because it's a sequel to the original series.
They are adults in Zombie Island.
So
And-
it begs the question of, who is this film made for?
That's the thing. It's like...
Obviously, this is made for kids, but would they really benefit from it being a sequel to Zombie Island then?
One of the things I love about Zombie Island, amongst many, many things, is the tone of it.
It's very grown up.
They take it seriously. Like we've always maintained, Zombie Island, yeah, it's a Scooby-Doo film, but it is a horror movie. And I think what helps add to that is the fact that these are clearly adults now.
So you can put them in more adult situations.
You can put them in peril more. Like Daphne is clear. She is a businesswoman. She's not soft. She's not silly.
It was
she's
great.
serious.
The start of the recreation of Daphne into a more modern woman.
Yeah.
Which I look she's still one of my favorite incarnations of Daphne, and I actually do really like her in this one as well.
Yeah.
She's the most level-headed Daphne we've seen in a while.
Yeah, but Daphne, I feel like she fluctuates a lot, and I think for me, Zombie Island Daphne is my personal favorite Daphne. I mean, I love her in Witch's Ghost, and I do like her in Alien Invaders as well. But I love her whole story. I mean, she kind of drives the movie, you know, the plot along.
Yeah.
In
but for that to be
Zombie
relegated
Island.
to,
oh, she was on a school project. Why would she be on the fucking news if she was doing a school project? Why would she be interviewed like that? It was such like a bad, stupid move that Return tried to just shove in there.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't needed. Return to Zombie Island should have just kept them as adults.
Yeah.
I don't really see how hard it is.
It's like
to.
Or it should have just been, instead of being a sequel to the current series of films, just ignore the current series and just be a sequel to Zombie Island as like an anniversary special.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I don't really understand why the filmmakers, the writers, find it so hard to do a return to form to Zombie Island. I don't understand why they struggle or they don't feel the need to return to a more like serious, more perilous tone. You know, because this Return to Zombie Island is infinitely more lighthearted than the original Zombie Island. Yeah. And
the zombies also do not look as good.
I think, you know, at the beginning you said that I preferred it a bit more than you. I think what it was is I just knew it wasn't going to be great, and so I wasn't. You can't be disappointed by something you already expect, you know. And I think that was the thing. Well, like I didn't expect great things from this movie, and I didn't get them.
Obviously, the zombies, they're on screen right now. They don't look great.
No, they don't.
I know they're meant to be people in costumes as well. The cat people are interesting. You don't like that the cat people are revealed so early.
No, I don't.
But that to try and work out who the cat people are is really easy because it's the only other people that you don't see throughout the rest of the film. But they do a little bit of a cop out when the cat people are revealed to obviously be people in masks as well, because there's another cat person that we keep seeing, a dark grey black one.
Yeah, that tries to thwart their arrival to the island.
Chopping the tree. That's when they realise the palm trees are plastic. And you were like, why is this happening? So why are we seeing the cat people so early?
Yeah.
I also don't like that most of this film takes place during the day.
No.
I think the scene we're watching at the minute is when the zombies are slowly, very, very painfully slowly approaching on the house, is the only scene set at night. Yeah. When they ask them, when they've caught the cat people, and your friend, the other cat person, like, what other cat person? Yeah. And it's meant to leave the door open that there is still a real cat person out there, and I'm like, that is such a cop out.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, you know, we are still supernatural.
Yeah, they almost undo all of Zombie Island, but oh look, the cat people are still around. It's like, but how?
Who is that one cat person?
Yeah.
Who's that one person that's been there? Like, was there someone else on the original island that a character we never met?
Is there someone who has become a cat person since?
Yeah.
There's an interesting story there, but you can't just throw that in there and expect that to be enough for us to be the events did still happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also, there's just little things, because like when the gang arrive and they're instantly met by lookalikes of, you know, Simone and Lena and, is it Jacques?
Jacques.
You know, the very much Jacques. And you can, they want to keep their promise.
I can't remember his name, the guy that Mark Hamill voiced.
Scruggs, something Scruggs. But it's like you can, they want to keep their promise to Shaggy and Scooby to not, you know, delve into, keep tight-lipped, we're not going to ask any questions surrounding mysteries. But I'm sorry, if you arrive on an island and you are met with lookalike cat people...
For the most traumatising moment in your life...
You are going to ask a few questions.
Even Scooby and Shaggy would.
Even if... the actress that is, you know, like the Simone type character, she's literally wearing the exact same outfit. And... You know, okay, you don't want to break your promise, but to me, just by asking the simple question, why do you look like her, that's not breaking a promise. That is a logical question to ask in that situation. So it was little things like that I couldn't really get past. Because my gang from the original Zombie Island would be smarter. Yeah. And that's just it. I know this is much more lighthearted. This is more in vain of like the recent...
I do like the recent animation
specials that we've seen.
The animation of the characters is much more like the design wise, same as it was in the 70s.
Yeah,
which I really like, especially the way they do the eyes.
I like the animation. Yeah. Like that's a big tick for me. But I couldn't get past Velma's character. That just was a big disappointment. And that kind of has implications for the rest of the plot, because the way Velma acts and the way she behaves, it kind of lessens Zombie Island in a way, if, you know, we're now led to believe that Velma doesn't believe in the events of what happened on Zombie Island.
Yeah.
I don't like her neuroticism. That just doesn't feel like a trait of hers at all.
But it's like, so if we know Reluctant Werewolf is canon and we know Zombie Island is now canon, is Witch's Ghost, Cyber Chase,
all
Alien Invaders,
supernatural.
are they there's no confirmation that they are canon, and we know Witch's Ghost especially is undeniably supernatural. It's not confirmed whether they are canon or not. As we just got to the point where the cat person around comes up from the couch and starts to fire and then runs away.
Yeah.
What is the point of that character?
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, so overall, not for you at least, not as bad as you thought it was going to be, but it
wasn't awful.
Good. It's not good.
It wasn't awful. Like, it's not a natural extension of the original.
Yeah.
And yes, you know, over 20 years on, it's going to be
Did Grey Delisle voice Daphne in that one?
I think so.
Yeah. The fact that Frank Welker is still... It's ironic that... Yeah. Frank Welker almost didn't get the role in the original Zombie Island because they thought his voice had changed too much. He's still voicing Fred at 72.
No, it's Mary Kay Bergman.
Yeah. All right. Grey Delisle must have came in there.
Yeah,
of course, because she died not too long.
Yeah.
So Frank is the only returning cast member then.
Yeah.
Because it obviously was Billy Boyd, not Billy Boyd, Billy West. Billy Boyd. That's it. I'm still thinking.
That's a different franchise.
It was Billy West who voiced Shaggy in that one.
It was nah.
I'd watch it. Well, we own it now. We have to buy it on Amazon for like $3.99. I could put it on.
Yeah.
But and I think the more I watch it, the less it'll annoy me if I just turn my brain off. And that's the main thing. Is like, I think if it wasn't so closely related to Zombie Island, I think the story would actually work quite nicely.
Yeah, probably would.
But when you're trying to be a sequel to one of the most famous and most beloved Scooby-Doo films, and you actively try to change the timeline...
I want to see the gang in peril more.
Yeah, they are never in peril in this film.
I want to see more horror moments. And I
it's
haven't
like with
seen that in a while.
Camp Scare from 2010, we saw like they were actually in peril.
Oh, yeah, like legit.
But that was also
like,
13 years ago.
That was 13 years ago, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. There were some things I did like, you know, like I say.
Oh, asked for the fucking sign-in book. And everyone's like, well, they never signed a guest book in the original. And they're like, they could have done it off screen, but it wasn't if it was a B&B where they're just trying to...
They wouldn't have signed it all those years ago.
Yeah. Unless it was off screen. But also, like, if Simone was trying to lure people there, you know, to obviously drain their souls.
Yeah.
Why would you
not keeping records.
Yeah, why would you keep records of that?
But it's not a hotel. It's a house.
Yeah, she lives there.
It's her own private house. She's not gonna have a fucking guest book. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't awful. I'm pretty sure there are probably worse Scooby-Doo films out there.
There probably are, and there's some bits that did make me laugh. Yeah. Fred is a delight.
Fred is wonderful.
Yeah, he's just... Frank Welker is just great. And he also does a really good job as Scooby, and I think he's been doing Scooby for a fair few years now.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me weirdly want to watch Scoob, because I want to know how bad that is in comparison.
I want to watch Zombie Island.
Yeah, we're probably just going to watch Zombie Island this evening.
I really love Zombie Island so much. Oh, what a perfect film.
I would kind of like it if they remastered it and almost remade it in widescreen, but try to keep that same animation. Maybe for its 30th anniversary in a few years' time.
Maybe.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
But, yeah. 1,000 subs, and we finally dealt with Return to Zombie Island.
And it's done. We never have to talk about it again.
Yeah. I had to find another film to constantly try and get you to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by every week. Everyone who's been here from the beginning, everyone who's new, and everyone yet to come.
Yeah.
I think I moved. If I'm right, I moved the schedule around a little bit. If we hit 1,000, if we get the 4 subs we need in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Just so I could have all 3 of our Salem's Lot videos, which will be coming out after this.
Yeah.
Come out in order, and we just went past the Reluctant Werewolf bit right there.
Yeah.
It's such a glaring thing.
Can I also just point out? Sorry, I know we're wrapping up, but on her blog, there's a picture of the cat people disintegrating as they're dying.
How would there be a photo of that?
No one took a photo of that
no one took a photo of Shaggy as a werewolf.
No, they didn't.
Look, we can't look past it. It's a kids' film. Kids' film. But yeah, if I've planned this right, next week should be Salem's Lot.
Yes.
The original 1979.
Yeah.
Yeah. Followed by a return to Salem's Lot and Salem's Lot 2004.
Yes.
So big Stephen King month after this one. So I wanted them to all come out together. Thanks a lot, guys.
Just thank you.
Just thanks.
Always thank you.
What?
We'll never stop saying thank you.
I know, we'll never stop saying thank you because this gives us the more it grows, the more excuses it gives us just to watch the things that we want to watch and talk about the things we want to talk about. And some of the things we don't want to talk about either. But to be fair, I have always wanted... This has been a curiosity of mine for a while.
We can tick this off the list for sure.
Yeah, because it's been on the list for a long time. Probably ever since we did the first Zombie Island.
What question do we want to ask folks for this one? What do we want to know?
Well, I've definitely asked... I've asked a fair few times for Scooby-Doo recommendations.
Yeah. What's your worst Scooby-Doo?
What...
Is it Return to Zombie Island?
Yeah. Should they do a Return to Witch's Ghost? The Return of the Witch's Ghost would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.